Hey y'all, I'm Carolina Tony. Today our adventure is at Reed Gold Mine. This is outside of Charlotte, North Carolina, where in 1799, a young kid, while cutting Sunday school, found a 17-pound gold rock. And hey, history changed forever. Well, we are going to learn a little bit about Reed Gold Mine right after this station identification. John Reed had a son named Conrad, and in 1799, Conrad was playing out in the woods, and he found something that would change history and his family forever. According to history, somewhere near this location, in 1799, Conrad Reed found a 17-pound gold nugget while he was skipping church one Sunday. Young John said, "But Dad, I was out playing by the creek and I found this big yellow shiny rock." John took the big shiny rock to a local silversmith to see if he could identify it. And because gold hadn't been discovered in North Carolina, the silversmith, he said, "I don't know what it is either." Well, old John, he decided he'd just take his big yellow shiny 17-pound rock back home, and he used it for a doorstop until 1802, when he took it to a market in Fayetteville. Now, it was a jeweler in Fayetteville at the market that identified it as gold. And he said, "John, you got some of value here. I tell you what, I'll give you $3.50 for that 17-pound yellow rock." So $3.50 was worth about a week's wages to a farmer. So John took him up his offer. It was really worth about $3,500. But when John got back home, he said, "Well, hey, gold, I'll start me a mining company." And John did that very thing. Shortly after returning to his farm, John formed a mining company with 3 of his neighbors to dig in the creek. Each partner supplied himself, 3 slaves, and a horse. During those days, most all of the mining took place on the surface. This is an underground entrance called the linker. It was actually done sometime later. Most of the mines that I've been able to go into, you always have someone following around behind you, pointing out the various outcropping of rocks. And the neat thing about this mine is it's a self-guided tour, and I'm the only one here. Here are some genuine nuggets that were found here at the mine. The little tiny piece from the Reed mine, a linker nugget, and a Saunders nugget. All 3 of these mines were in this general vicinity. And because it's a self-guided tour, and I have a pamphlet in hand and I'll read it, and it makes me sound like a very smart man. Because without the pamphlet, I wouldn't have a clue what I was talking about. But this is a quartz vein. Check it out. When a new vein was found, stooping or stoping, an assaying would occur to determine if the vein contained gold. This is a pneumatic drill that was used in North Carolina mines to punch away at the rock to dispose of valuable gold. As I said earlier that the mining was done from the surface, the entrance that I took to get in here is down in the side of a mountain, but this is how they got down into the mines before, through a genuine mine shaft. That's 50 foot up. As you can see, a ladder comes down, and then a series of platforms and wooden ladders, working your way down until you get to the bottom of the mine. But as you descend down into the mine, look at this. Folks, this is the real deal. That is so cool. Little track with the ore cart. Those ore carts, they would come to this general area right where I'm standing, and the kibble or broken rock would be hoisted by elevator type system to the surface so it could be discarded. Here's another quartz vein. This is called the linker vein, and the linker shaft room was a vein that went up through there. Look at all those timbers that are supporting the mountain from caving in. Here's another shaft. That is a kibble bucket. That is what the ore and broken rocks would be hoisted to the surface by the use of a crane type mechanism on the surface to get the broken rocks out to make room to dig more tunnels. And another tunnel. Oh, I'd love to go crawling up in there, I think. And just think, this mine was made possible because Conrad cut Sunday school, and he got a 17-pound gold rock. My mama would have wore my butt out, rock or not, gold or not. These bolts bored into the rock to support the mine. Now these steps were not here when the mine was when this was actually a working mine. They've been put in to help facilitate exploring by tourists. Here are more of the quartz veins. And apparently, from what I'm told, it is in this vein is where you would find gold. I wonder if there's some here that just haven't been discovered yet. That's so cool. Now Reed, when he mined, they used hammers and chisels and star drills. That was actually done by hitting them with a hammer. The pneumatic drills didn't come to much later. This is what one of the entrance mines would have looked like originally. This is called the Morgan shaft. When I was below surface, I pointed out a bucket such as this and the crane system that would be used to take that bucket and lower it into this shaft to pick up the kibble and broken rock to bring to the surface to make room for more tunnels. They bring it to the surface and it would be piled up like right here. And these wooden buckets, they were used in the beginning, and then they went on to metal as it became available. Now, in John Reed's day, this is probably what we would have seen, a big gaping hole where they would just dig down and start tunneling. This is called the engine shaft. A lot of it's caved in now, But in 1854, this thing was 150 foot deep. And this is where men and debris would be hoisted in and out, and also where they would pump water out, because as they dug mines, sometimes they would fill with water. And this is behind plexiglass. It's really hard to see, but it'll give you a general idea of how, in Reed's time, how they would get men and tools and all from the mine to the surface by the use of horses or mules with a carousel type connected by a cable or a rope that would raise and lower men and tools into the mine. And some of the machinery and winches that was used to raise workers and debris from the mine to the surface. Foundation that they have discovered from archaeological digging and research, this would have supplied the steam engine that powered the hoist to move the equipment to and from the surface to down into the mines. And a drawing of what this would have looked like in the 1880s. We're standing right here now. This is where the steam mill would have been, and this is that big wooden statue, big wooden A-frame that was used to lower the men in and out of the mines. I was here once before, and it was during the hot part of the year, and there were school buses and kids everywhere, and it was really hard to explore and do it in a manner where you wouldn't be disturbed. I did pretty good, but today is really awesome. It's probably a crisp 35 degrees outside, sun shining, and it's not a soul here, except some folks in the visitor center. This is called a stamp mill. Now, it's locked up and you can't get inside, but actually what happened inside the stamp mill is they would take the broken pieces of rock and put it in these machines, and water would run over it, and there would be little troughs that would catch the little small particles of gold, and all the other debris would be leached out and emptied into the creek down below. This is the remnants of the 1890s Kelly stamp mill. And that stamp mill there has been, of course, it's been recreated. It was on this spot that is known as the lake. It's actually a deep spot along Little Meadow Creek. It's known as the lake. It holds water year-round. In 1803, a slave named Peter found Reed's largest known nugget was 28 pounds. Now that was the largest nugget that came from Reed's mine. There would be other nuggets found by other owners on down through the years. In fact, the folks that found it were so excited, the Smithsonian Institution made a plaster cast of it. And here is a copy of the plaster cast that the Smithsonian made of the last large nugget found at the Reed gold mine, weighing nearly 23 pounds. There's gold in them there hills. Well, that is going to be a wrap for our trip to the Reed Gold Mine, where gold was first found here in North Carolina in 1799. I hope you really enjoyed it. If you did, be sure to give me a big old thumbs up. Be sure to share this video with your family and friends. But until next time, y'all have a good day.